And you're very welcome back to episode number 4 of our Final Whistle Women's Rugby podcast. Since last week, I've come out of whatever well I ended up in with my audio quality last week. So back in my normal, usual setup. And once again, of course, joining the company of Aimee Clarke from Railway Union and Stacy Hanley from Galwegians. He had a fairly eventful weekend, to say the least.
Nothing but celebrations.
Well, now the celebrations were kept to a minimum because, we're mid-season, can't be getting carried away. But it was eventful. Between, again, well, I suppose every game in Dublin got moved to an Astro pitch, but we were expected to play on the second pitch at Energia Park, and then pitch, while we were running out for our warm up. Our coaches had set up on the main pitch, so they just decided, here, why not just throw you onto the main pitch, no harm. And I suppose the way the game went, the way the game ended was full of surprises for us, but all good surprises.
And we're delighted that Stacey has her voice fully restored for the podcast, having listened to her just in the aftermath, the morning after the game on Saturday. We were kind of worried that she'd be here in body, maybe not spirit, or
I'd like to
definitely with voice.
Interrupt and just point out that was nothing to do with the celebrations as well, that the voice was gone before the game. Saturday morning, I slept in a very... I don't know. I think it was the air conditioning in the room I was in.
Get lost, will you? Give over.
Look, 2 glasses of wine was the limit. That was it. That wouldn't get rid of your voice. It was. I woke up with no voice Saturday, and
2 pint glasses of wine more so, I'd say.
I know they weren't even with my team. That's how bad I am. No, but my voice, it's definitely not 100%. It's, we'd say, 75%, but much better than it was yesterday. I'd have been whispering today if it wasn't any better.
I think you were grateful for the AstroTurf pitch on Saturday, judging by the weather conditions. It was an absolute deluge of rain in Dublin, I think, throughout the day, never mind when you kicked off around 5 o'clock that evening.
Yeah, it was awful all day. It was so windy as well. I think I wasn't expecting the wind, and then obviously the rain and the wind together making it 10 times worse. So I think although all the forwards were complaining about having to go play an Astro, I think they probably were glad at the end of the day that we weren't rolling around in puddles, because the pitches, the weather, it was bad.
We'll start with looking at the weekend. We'll touch on the Galwegians game in a few minutes' time. We'll just start with the early kickoff of the day, which was Ennis and Blackrock, and Ennis taking on Blackrock for the first time down in their home patch. And here's a couple of highlights of how that game transpired. Blackrock extended their unbeaten run to 11 games with a 38 points to 12 win away to Ennis. The hosts made the perfect start, however, when Annie Lynch pounced on an early opportunity to cross inside 3 minutes, Megan O'Connor converting to hand the hosts a 7-0 advantage. Blackrock responded calmly and struck back in the 8th minute as captain Hannah O'Connor touched down and converted her own try to level matters. Blackrock had their noses in front in the 16th minute through Sarah Farley, but Ennis refused to fade and were rewarded just before the break, when Orna Moynihan crossed in the 38th minute, ensuring the sides went in level at 12 points apiece after an evenly contested first half. The turning point in the tie came after the restart. Samantha Brackett crossed in the 48th minute for Blackrock to give the momentum, with O'Connor again accurate from the kicking tee. From there, the visitors took control, O'Connor grabbing her second try on the hour mark before a penalty try further extended the gap. Andrea Murphy crossed for their final try in the 79th minute, as Blackrock managed to pull clear thanks to a fantastic second half performance. Full highlights of this game are available on the IRFU YouTube channel. Blackrock just keep on winning games. Just when you thought Ennis were going to potentially have another remarkable result at home against one of the traditional top 4 teams, just didn't go their way. They got the first score, they got the last score of the first half, level at the break. Just Blackrock just showing what they can do, and maybe their discipline costing them coughing up a penalty try as well in that second half. But when you looked at them last week, Stacey, you can't really give Blackrock a whole lot of chances, and even coughing up 7 points on the board with a penalty try against a team like Blackrock, it really does put you on the back foot.
Yeah, Blackrock, they don't give you a chance, especially in attack. It's like, let's all go with them. There is no taking the foot off the pedal. So if you're not 100% matching that defensively, they're going to make breaks. They're going to get scores. Like, especially their pack are so strong, powerful, and smart when it comes to playing. Like, Samantha Brackett got on the scoreline again. Hannah O'Connor just scores tries for fun and then pops the conversions like it's nothing. So they're playing really well, Blackrock. You can't fault them, and Ennis did put up a good shift against them, like, you know, to get the 2 tries as well. And I think that's the nice thing about Ennis as well, is that it's never a standout player that does all the work. Ennis really works as a team, collectively. Like, you see a different name on the team sheet. Sorry, not on the team sheet, on the score sheet every week. So I don't think, if I was Ennis, I'd be disappointed with that. Like, that's a similar scoreline to what we had against Blackrock, and like our last meeting with Ennis, we beat them. So Ennis obviously are making improvements as well.
They got a fantastic try though. Like, they're one of them, like, when the players kicks it into the crossfield, like, unbelievable spot of space, and the winger just gets it. And, like, it was a fantastic try. But I think when it comes to Blackrock's pack, like, it's so competitive in there as well. Like, people are fighting to be even just in the front row. Like, Aoife Moore, who's like usually one of your props, is on the flank now. So, like, if they have that depth that they're like usual standout front row, like, you'll always see them on the team sheet, front row, 1, 2, or 3. Now they're in flanker, like you want to see what kind of players are replacing them into these positions. Like, it's such a depth of experience and talent, I suppose.
And then when you have someone, Aimee, like Hannah O'Connor as well, I know we had her on last week, but like, just to have Hannah now in the Blackrock setup nearly full time as well. I know she's been with Ireland, she's been with Leinster, but like, to have her like as the constant, and when there might be a little bit of chopping and changing with obviously Celtic Challenge now, there's a couple of girls that are away with their respective clubs and have, you know, left Blackrock since the start of the season. Like, to have her, and she goes over, she grabs 2 tries, kicks the conversions, just leads by example, and just to have her is definitely a big influence for Blackrock going forward as well.
Yeah, it's exactly what Stacey said. Like, she just scores tries for fun, but you can tell she's enjoying it in her game. Like, I think she's the kind of player that you can tell if the game is going well, she's having fun, she's playing really well. Do you know, like, it's a really good game to play when she's enjoying it. To play alongside with, not really to play against, but yeah, she's brilliant to have with her, and like we've always talked about her, she's fantastic. But even like a change up in 10, like they're starting 10 from last week was now starting with the Wolfhounds this week. So Lauren Farrell McCabe comes in and starts at 10, you know. So I think I think they have such a depth in the squad that they're really like a weapon this year, I suppose.
And then you look at the likes of Sarah Farley goes over, one of their wingers in the first half. Andrea Murphy, another of their wingers, goes over in the second half. What you mentioned, Stacey, just the way that I suppose Blackrock can attack, it's, you know, they have the likes of Hannah O'Connor who can go over, Samantha Brackett, as you mentioned, she's been scoring tries for fun over the last few weeks as well. And then you have, you know, 2 players that can run down the wing and exploit the space. So they do have so much options. And I suppose for any team to have a depth of scorers as well, it's definitely beneficial for them, especially a team like Blackrock who are, you know, targeting a return for a final this year.
Absolutely. Like, you need to have, you know, a game's never going to be solely won on your forwards or on your backs. You need to have both, and you need to have both like in tip-top shape, especially if you are looking to try and make the final at the end of the season. So you can see that with Blackrock, that they have got both, and all their tries are spread along the pitch. Like, it is with the forwards right down the middle, or even making breaks in the middle if it's not a pick and go over the line. But they have the plays in the backs and the skill and the hands and like the knowledge even to know when to like kick and chase when the space is there. They have all that out the back line as well, and their backs are they're fast and they're strong. So they have like the full package, and that's how they are putting scorelines like that on people. And and it's the forwards, it's the backs, and it's the bench making an impact as well. The depth, like Aimee said, of the squad is really impressive.
And I know we can touch on Ennis as well. Like they really put up to them. I know they just didn't get the scores that they would have. They didn't get any score in the second half. But again, it's another big learning curve for them to take on a team like Blackrock at home. I know when they look at the away leg, you were coming into going, were we going to kind of get something similar in terms of a score line? But I think they can hold their heads up fairly high with how they performed. And again, as the new team, they've done really, really well against the top 4 teams that they have played. While the score lines have been fairly one-sided in certain circumstances, they can still, Aimee, I suppose, hold their heads up high and say, like, we've done really, really well for our first year coming up so far.
Yeah, like I think like it's something to really, really be proud of and wear as a badge of honor. Like you're going up and you're putting points on top 4 teams, you're putting points on teams that have been in this league for 12 years, like it's like it really is, like it's a big achievement, and it's a credit to all the girls showing up and playing, and the support they have behind them and the coaching staff with them as well. Like they're a credit to Ennis, pride of Clare.
Certainly, like when you get when they got that last score of the half, certainly you might have thought Blackrock might have been a little bit rattled at halftime going, we're after conceding, and Ennis could really come back. And for a team that's just come up, like to potentially put that kind of psychological edge on a team like Blackrock, there's definitely some serious pride you could take out of that.
100%, and I think they're really kind of really bringing home that, like, you can't just, even though they're the underdog, you can't write them off. Like they came into the season, like there was zero expectations on them to do anything, and I think they've really made the most of having the zero expectations, because they're going out and they're wowing people each weekend. Like
7th in the table with 17 points. That's a fairly good return so far with just with 12 rounds played at the moment. Like they've done really, really well. I'd like to see where they end up when we get towards the latter stage of the season. Could they be, challenging for 5th or 6th? We'll have to wait and see what way results do transpire. From matters down in Ennis, we'll move slightly closer to Ennis and talk about UL Bows. UL Bows taking another fantastic performance against Wicklow, and here's a couple of highlights from that one. UL Bohemians made it 12 wins in a row with a 41 points to 7 win over Wicklow on the UL 4G pitch. Mary Marr crossing inside 3 minutes, with Aimee Clarke converting. Lily Brady added their second try in the 15th minute before Chloe Pearce crossed the 21st as UL Bows stretched their advantage. Wicklow showed resilience and struck back in the 35th minute through Faye O'Neill, with Beth Roberts converting to reduce the deficit. However, UL Bows responded immediately before the break when Ciara O'Dwyer crossed in the 38th minute, giving the home side a 27 points to 7 lead at the break. The visitors were kept at bay in the second half as Bows continued to build, Claire Bennett crossing in the 62nd minute before Maddie Kushner added 2 late tries in the 70th and 73rd minute to cap off another impressive result by the Red Robins. Full highlights of this game are available on the IRFU YouTube channel. Bows very, very strong yet again, 12 wins from 12, another big statement. And again, they've added a couple of different players to their squads now in the recent weeks since the Celtic Challenge, but you see the likes of Mary Marr goes over for a try. Aimee Clarke is back kicking the conversions. Maddie Kushner got 2 tries as well. They've had a couple of newer names and different names that have kind of come into the squad in the last couple of weeks, but have certainly put their name up for selection. And Stacey, they've been doing fairly well.
Yeah, like I said before, kind of this half of the season kicked in, UL did their prep in making sure that they had depth in their squad when they were losing so many players to the Celtic Cup. So that's exactly what we're seeing, depth, new names every week. They're really using their dual status players as well. So they're just doing the same thing every week, putting big score lines on everyone. But I think Wicklow will be disappointed not to have gotten a bit more on the score sheet as well, with coming out with only one try. Like Wicklow are a good side as well. I would have expected them to maybe cross the line a bit more than once, but like I think that just goes to show, like, no matter who's playing on that UL team, they're so strong, and they're strong in the forwards and the backs. Now, I think this week was a big forwards display from UL. A lot of the scores did come from the pack. You had like the likes of I know Lily Brady's been in and out, and she can play flank, but she was back in hooker, and she got a score from there. Claire Bennett got a score. Chloe Pierce, when does she not? Like they're all. It was a fairly forward heavy performance, and Wicklow have strong forwards as well, so would have thought that they'd put it up to them a bit more, but that's just UL for you.
I think it was Wicklow's discipline that kind of let them down a bit. Like, Wicklow were giving just penalties away, and that's where a lot of Bow's tries came from. Just they started off the platform of a penalty, and it was just unfortunate. But as well, like, half of their tries, the first 5 minutes before, 3 minutes before, you're literally in that 5 meters between the try line and the 5. And if Bows get into that area, they're not leaving without a score. Like, it's very rare that Bows get into between the try line and the 5 meter without getting a score. So I think when it comes to them, like, you just have to keep them out of your half and keep them away from your like as far away from your try line as you can.
Like 5 out of 8 of their starting forwards all cross for tries. Like, it just shows. I know that while they have some fantastic backs as well, and a lot of them did make some fairly good breaks, but Wicklow's defence really kind of shut out the chances of maybe going out wide and trying to get it over in the corner or whatever. But it's just that forward game plan. And I suppose, Stacey, when you talk about forward game plans, like, just to have loads of players that can go over and get you tries as well. Maybe the conditions, it looked somewhat dry down in UL and playing on the Astro, but for the forwards to provide the level of scores that they did is definitely another key weapon for them.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have strong forwards who are also smart and know what they're doing, which the UL pack definitely do. And when the forwards can make yards, like, why not use them? Why not let them score? Like, sometimes there is no need to do the fancy work out the back when you have the likes of the pack that the experienced pack, especially, I think that UL put out. They're all clever. They use they're always running together. You'll never see a pod with UL like not ready, not knowing where the ball's going, and not knowing who's with them. So they're always there. There's always that front runner and that tip option, or that they'll always eventually catch a team out somewhere and get the score.
And of course, the ever constant that is Fiona Reedy coming off the bench once again. Whenever Bows need just that sprinkle of magic to come off to help their forwards out, and they have Fiona, who retired about 2 years ago and is still
3
playing.
times, I'd say.
Absolute stalwart for the Red Robins. I know Wicklow maybe got out of dodge last week with the game against Ballincollig. We're happy to have won the game by a point. I think, will they be disappointed, Aimee, not to have put on, say, more scores on the board against Wicklow or against Mule Bow, should I say?
Yeah. You know what? You always are. Like, you always wonder what if and if only. And like, the try that Wicklow did score was an absolutely fantastic try. Like, again, Roberts found the space in the backfield, a lovely little crossfield kick straight into the winger and bang straight over the line. Like, it was a fantastic try. And from what I watched, I just don't think they used it enough. Like, Bows are a team you want to kind of pin down in their half, and if you can pin down and get the ball back from a crossfield, all day, lap it up. Like, but I'd say they'll be very disheartened and very upset and kind of licking their wounds coming into the next game. But I don't think it'll affect how they play the next time. I think it'll put a bit of a fire underneath them as well.
I know.
Sorry, it was Faye O'Neill as well. That was the winger that did score it, and like, she's really exciting to see. She's really young. Her mother played with the club, and her mother played a big part, Aimee, when Wicklow first made AIL. And Faye is so young early 20s. I've played rugby league with her, but like for being someone so young as well, she's so smart, and she knows what she's doing, and she's lightning quick as well. So she is a weapon that Wicklow have there on the wing as well, not to be underestimated.
No, and I'm not underestimating her at all. That call comes from the winger, but don't be telling me that we're playing them in a few weeks.
Just watch the winger.
Yeah.
What I was going to say was when we were speaking last week about the Tullow game and how Tullow got their scores and did really, really well going down the wing, that maybe Wicklow, as you mentioned it, Aimee, could have done a little bit more when you have someone like Faye or a Clara Dunn on the opposite side that can get over, or Jamie Church is inside in the centre. We've seen the way she can get tries in the last couple of weeks, that maybe Bowles shut down those areas and limited them trying to go out wide.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, if you look at Bowes, like, they fly up in defence and they want to pin you back and want to like push you back and get the ball back within a couple passes, so I'd say like the pressure, that is very hard. And like it's hard, like when like you have the ball, it's almost like you're defending while you still have the ball. Like it's hard, like, and they run a really tight ship with defence, and they're it's like they're I don't even know, it's like they're all hypnotized or something. Like one moves one right foot, the other moves the next right foot, like they all just move in sync. Like it's it's weird to watch. Like,
they do have those pack leaders as well that just make it very, very difficult for other teams to try and get those scores. We'll move from Limerick up to the capital. 2 games, of course, as Stacey mentioned, got moved to AstroTurf pitches on Saturday. Of course, the game between Railway and Cook was moved to the Aviva back pitch. Fortunately, we don't have highlights from that game. The wind definitely was strong in Dublin. It knocked over the camera just before the game was about to get underway, and RIP that camera.
yeah,
Unfortunately for Railway, they're going to be looking for a new camera during the short break that we have.
Gonna be looking for fundraisers.
If anyone can get a camera out to Railway for their next game, I have to see it happening. Of course, Aimee, you weren't part of the Railway setup at the weekend, but a very, very strong performance against Cook. 73-0, 13 tries, just showing the class and level of scores that you do bring once again.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring a bit of a life rugby balance into my life. But yeah, like a dream start. I think we got over the whitewash within the first 5 minutes, Lee barreling over, and then we had one girl come off the bench for her debut and score a hat-trick, and then Emma Fabi, who's just back from a pretty bad wrist injury. She's had a bad run of luck the last few years, plates in her ankle, plates in her wrist, comes back over. I think this is her second game this side of the season anyways, and gets over for a hat-trick as well. Like, it's like she was absolutely phenomenal in the Ennis game, and she's only gone from strength to strength now, so it's really fantastic to see. Like, I don't know if you played with Fabi and Connacht, Stacey, but like, she's brilliant and she'll work all day for you, and she's the kind of player where I say, Fabi, I need you to make this tackle, and she'll get up and she'll make that tackle and then some, and then you had the likes of Heidi Lyons kicking the conversions. Fantastic boot on her, a young player even getting over as well. And the same, like Rio going through and scoring tries as well. I think like the tries were just coming from all over the park, and kind of it's hard for Cook when you're coming up to a team that's starting to play in their flow. It's a very hard game to play, especially like realistically they score a try, you have to kick the ball back to them and you're defending straight again, so it's tough, like, but again, like Cook, just they constantly show up and they bring their team, and their side have a pride in the jersey, and they don't want to let anything go and let anything go easy, so I think even though the result was what it was, I don't think it's anything that can take away from Cook and how they're getting on, and they're showing up every week, which is something to say.
And when you have like the likes of Heidi Lyons, Nikki Cahy, and Hannah Scanlon all playing in the one team, you're not short of options when it comes to kicking for the posts, or kicking
No.
anywhere in the pitch as well.
And that, like, Leah as well. Leah's been in the backfield for us, and her clearance kick has been fantastic, and we're lucky enough that we have a right foot and a left foot kicker, so we're covered on both sides of the pitch, and then Hannah as well, fantastic kicker, and Nikki just knows where to slot them as well, and she's played the game for so long that she'd probably kill me for saying she's played it for so long, but she knows, she can read patterns before they even start when it comes to sides like this. Like, she's played against this side probably since Railway has come together, so like, it's fantastic to see, and they're great options off the boot, and like the wingers that we're playing on the weekend are lightning quick, and if you send the ball down their side, like, they're up and they're on top of you within seconds.
I know Leah's done really well in the centre, but even moving her now to full back, she's gotten tries in the last few rounds as well. As you mentioned, her kicking game is very good as well, and she's certainly she's definitely got form and momentum on her side now at the moment, and definitely what you wanted at this stage of the season as well.
Yeah, I think she was fairly hard done by during the summer as well. I think she was rushed back from a bit of an injury and then just kind of picked up another knock. So I think now she's kind of finally getting the wheels turning and getting that bit of confidence back, and she's really starting to show the Leah that we've seen before and the Leah that we know can perform, can get scores from anywhere.
Cook pride themselves on having they're a very tough team to break down. They've really, really good forwards as well. But when you look at Railway's attack, 6 tries come out of their forwards. They've done really, really well. And I know, Stacey, when you've played Cook and you're going matching up against their forwards, they're very, very tough to break down. But Railway just showing again that they've got a really, really strong pack behind them.
Yeah, Cook's pack are like a force to be reckoned with. They're very strong girls, and like that, their scrum is always a challenge. They know what they're doing there. You have as well Megan Simpson playing 8. She's been with Cook for a while, leading the way. The likes of her and the Van Stadens, to score that much from your forwards is it's impressive for Railway to be able to do that and not have to work around the middle. So that's it's a testament to Railway's pack as well, and their depth there, especially as well. Yeah, they are missing a few players to the to Wolfhounds and Clovers, so Cook can only do so much. The other thing as well is, like, I know Railway put into the 70s on Cook, but the only kind of way you can look at it positively is a team like Railway can put 100 plus on you. So I know last year when we were playing Railway, the year before, when we were having scores similar to that put on us, we were always just trying to take the positive from it. I know it's hard, and it can kind of sound silly to do that, but sometimes that is the only way you can move on, the only way you can look to get better. So a score like that, a lot of the time, it can be an improvement from the score before, and I think that's what you have to look at. You have to look at how far you've come. So it isn't the worst result at the end of the day.
And flying the Connacht flag as well, Emily Gavin crossing for a brace of tries. I know she's played kind of in the back row a couple of times, but moving into hooker and certainly didn't face her one bit.
Nah, she's cemented in hooker. Like, she's one of them new fancy hybrid hookers where you can put them out on the wing and you wouldn't be worried about them being on the wing, and she's got the feet to kind of dance around people, and she'll make it hit for you as well. Like, she's a fantastic tackler. She's kind of one of the players I'd avoid in training if we're doing a tackling drill, but nah, she's phenomenal in the hook. Like, she does really, really well, and she's got a great carry and great step, and she's just an all-round, she's one of them hybrid players. She's doing super, like.
Another hybrid player, our own Stacey, who was wearing the number 7 jersey for Galwegians on Saturday. We've seen her playing hooker as well. They were up in not Ollie Campbell Park. Again, the horse got moved to Energia Park as they took on Old Belvedere in another game on Saturday. And here's how the game transpired. Galwegians ended a 6-game losing streak with a 15-10 win away to Old Belvedere in Energia Park. It was a tight and tactical encounter between the sides, with Ellen Jane O'Sullivan-Sexton opened the scoring from the kicking tee in the 13th minute to put Belvo ahead. The home side built early pressure and were rewarded in the 31st minute when Hannah Wilson crossed, with O'Sullivan-Sexton converting to give Belvo a 10-0 advantage. Galwegians stayed within touching distance thanks to a Nicole Fowley penalty in the 36th minute, leaving the score at the break 10 points to 3. The game shifted dramatically in the final quarter. Megan Connolly crossing in the 63rd minute to reduce the deficit before Gemma Faulkner struck 5 minutes later to push Galwegians into the lead, with Nicole Fowley converting the latter try to make it 15 points to 10 at the finish. Full highlights of this game are available on the IRFU YouTube channel. I think we can say result of the weekend was Galwegians getting over against, I know Stacey's obviously delighted to get over the line against Old Belvedere. I suppose the last couple of games have been very tough on you with the way the results had gone. I know this was a game when you played them in Crowley Park, it was a game that you felt, went by you, that you should have got a result and maybe ate away at you, and you were kind of like, we need to come back now, we need to get the result out of this game. And you got those scores in the second half and then just defended like animals in the final few minutes. Belvo were just absolutely throwing everything at you guys in the final few minutes. And what was the emotion like, Stacey, when that final whistle eventually did sound?
When that final whistle went, like for me, I felt relief, and I was just thinking, like, God, thank God that last 5 minutes is done. That 5 minutes of defending, because Belvo were absolutely giving it their all and they had worked us back a good amount of the pitch, just edging closer and closer to our try line, and one slip up on our behalf like would have ended in a score for them, and then you have your draw, and then if they got the kick, they're taking the win, and it'd be disappointing after like the hard work that was put in. But no, I was definitely relieved when the whistle blew, and that was my second win to be involved with this year, because I missed the first 4 games. So like for me, I was like, that's what it feels like. Like, there was also a lot of tears from a lot of players because it was so long coming, and it was worked so hard for. So it was emotions all around when the whistle blew.
And one of the best kept secrets all week, Nicole Fowley returning.
I wouldn't call it a secret. I think it was just as much a surprise to Galwegians as it was to everyone else. Like Nicole, she came back to train during the week and made herself available. I think she was a bit surprised when she was involved in the squad, but like, of course she's going to be involved in the squad. Like she really did make a difference. And it's just her experience and her knowledge and her direction. Her direction was huge. Having someone that just makes a call and says, this is what we're doing, and everyone respects her so much that like no one would question her call. It was just, okay, Nicole said this, that's what we're doing. And things didn't come off all the time. There was kicks that didn't go to hand or might not have made touch, but despite that, like just having that structure and having everyone listen and everyone play their part in the calls that were made, I think made such a difference for us.
But as well, just to get someone like her to come into a team, even in just the lead up, just that experience and that kind of the dressing room leader mentality that Nicole brings, like just to have her back, even just among the squad, whether she was going to be starting the weekend or not, a couple of days after coming back to training. She has, I suppose it's been a while since she last played, I suppose, the full 80 in competitive action as well. So she did very, very well. 2 well-taken kicks, an important conversion in that second half as well. But definitely just her presence on the pitch as well definitely helped you guys.
Yeah, her presence massively helped. Even like from training on Tuesday, just throughout the drills and any like a little run through we did, her presence was just so noted by everyone, and it kind of like brought like a dynamic change. Have like and again as well, like one person doesn't win a game, but having her there, if you ask anyone that was on the pitch or anyone watching the game, you'd know that her presence did bring a massive impact.
And 2 massive tries as well. Megan Connolly doing very well to get over for a try, and then Gemma Faulkner as well. And you could see with the celebrations of the players that were warming up behind the goal as well, just what it meant to you guys as well to get those scores. To be, you were 10 down for a time in the game. Nicole's penalty then cutting the gap just before the break. But like those were definitely big momentum boosts when in the last few games scores just didn't happen at those right times to try and swing it in your favor.
Yeah, a lot of the time, if a team gets ahead, all of our heads kind of drop, and that's kind of been consistent for this season. Unfortunately, no matter how much you try and change your mindset, it's hard to kind of knock the habit of thinking that way. So when they were ahead, like there was that little worry, like, will we come back? Will we be able to bounce back? Like Megan Connolly, she came off the bench for us last week against Blackrock, and the rucks from her were like super quick. And her pass has come on loads. She is really working to try and get into that 9th spot, and there's great competition there. We had Aisling White on the bench as well, who's also like a really good up and coming 9. She actually played a stormer for us on Sunday then in the Connacht Junior semi-final as well. So having those options there and that depth is amazing. Megan to get her try, like I think we all felt so happy for her because we knew like getting the start meant loads, and for her to then top it off with a score and it being from a little snipe, and especially a little snipe in and around all the Belvo forwards. I think she was a bit scared, but she just about reached the line. So we were all just really, really happy for her. And then Gemma Faulkner as well, like she's been playing for us since she's been in college in Galway. So for her to touch over the line as well, like she deserves scores with the work she puts in. So that was what the emotion was, what you were seeing from the team behind the post. Just happy for the players and happy for them reaping the rewards of the work they're putting in.
And whatever bit of voice you had left going into the game on Saturday certainly was gone by Saturday evening going into Sunday morning.
Yeah, absolutely gone. At one stage, Ellen went off the pitch and was like, "Oh, I'm off now. It's you. Go tell the ref you're the standing captain." And I think I went up to him and I was like, "Our captain's gone." Like not able to say anything. He was like, "All right, okay." But after the match. Well, it wasn't even like that. We didn't. Well, some players celebrated, but it was just I got a lift home, and it was just the yapping in the car, like dissecting every detail of the game, and that would be enough to lose the rest of your voice. But like it was pure excitement. It was excitement like about how we know we can find, like how we finally played the way we wanted to play, improved ourselves, and excitement as well for the next 6 games to come. I think we really needed the win to give us that boost.
I know Aimee was doing a different kind of celebrating on Saturday evening, but you look at that game, it's a big result for Railway as well, because it's put Railway up to 3rd in the table, Belvoir now 4th, and it's a big kind of reshuffle of the top 4 race at this stage of the season. From the Belvoir perspective now, Aimee, does that kind of knock them when we come back now for round 13? I know we have a slight break, just a week before we come back again. Or will they just be even more hungrier now to get back to winning ways and just try and keep the pressure to maybe try and go up to 2nd or keep 3rd spot?
Yeah, I think they'll be very frustrated. I think it was well deserved by Wegians, and you go back to what Stacy said last week about like one of their goals was beating one of the stereotypical top 4 teams, and like that's after happening. But like I've always said it through the whole podcast, like you can't back anything with this league at the moment. Like anything could happen. I think Belvo are definitely they're going to be really, really annoyed. They're going to come out and want to make a statement the next game. But saying that, like Belvo have been unfortunate. Like, they're two of the players that started for them last week were in with Wolfhounds on Sunday and started with them, so it's tough for them, but they're not having the consistency in team. And it's through no fault of their own. They can't do anything about it. Like, but we go back to what you said about last week about having the Irish players in. It's great to have them in, but then what happens when they're gone? And this is the kind of thing that happens when they're gone. You can't back them. Now it was fantastic to see Emma Tilly back on the pitch. I know she's been really struggling with an injury, operations and stuff, but I think she'd be a massive asset for Belvo coming back. Like, she's been with Belvo the last 3 or 4 years. And she has a great read of the game. She's played it since she was younger, and you feel safe with her in full back and back, and she can tell you where to go and whatever. And once she gets the ball, she's quick and she's got feet on her. Like, so I think once she kind of settles back into her role, I think they'll be doing well. But it's just, I think they need the consistency in squad to start to get them through now,
You could even just see it during the game, like Belvo, how Belvo were missing players, and obviously when the team sheet came out, it was notable that a lot of the back line was gone to play with Wolfhounds, but even like Emma Kelly playing second centre, she'd usually play in the forwards, but now Emma Kelly, you could actually absolutely play her anywhere. You could you back on wing, you'd back her full back, she can play 10, whatever. But then as well, they Hannah Wilson ended up going into hooker, and like you could tell that she was thrown off, and that it was kind of a last minute decision. So they obviously weren't, like, they didn't have their strongest team that they would have been used to putting out, say, earlier in the season out, and you could tell that as well. So like, the win over them, like, it's not as well, it's not like we beat the absolute best of Belvo. Like, they will be frustrated because they know that they probably could have put up a better fight, and they will feel hard done by having lost that back line that did so much damage against Cook the week before. But that being said as well, I think a lot of people underestimate how many players Galwegians have lost to the Celtic Challenge too. We were counting, and it's actually 8. And I was speaking to someone during the week, and they said they said, "Oh, but sure, you haven't really been affected by the Celtic Challenge, have you?" And then I started to list off players, and I think I listed 4. And then they were like, "Oh, wait, actually you are." And then actually checking, it's 8 players that we actually have out, whether they're playing in the Celtic competition or they're injured from it. So, like, at the same time, I suppose we're putting out a depleted squad to what we would have had at the start of the season too. So I think everyone's feeling the effects of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like, saying that, like, I think a Belvo squad is still a really, really strong squad, regardless of who they have in and who they don't have in. They're playing with that, like, they're in Belvo because they deserve to be in Belvo, and that's them. So I think, even though they are missing these players, they still have players that can cover that position, and really good players as well. Like, Aimee Clarke played fullback last week, Emma Tilly played fullback this week. Like, I see no difference in how they play, or no difference in their standard. I think I feel they're really similar as well. So I do think, like, although it's easy to say, oh, I was missing squad, but it's exactly what you said. Wegians there as well. Everybody's missing people, So I think you're spot on with it. Like,
round 11 last year, Galwegians winning out west. Round 12 this year, Galwegians winning in Dublin and beating Belvo in the capital for the first time since 2018 as well. So we'll have to wait and see now what way results go over the coming weeks, and we will be reflecting on next week's episode just on the week when we do come back to action. Of course, we've no AIL games this weekend. A well-deserved rest after a very hectic opening block for 2026. Last game of the week end was the game in Feathered. Of course, again, another game that was moved. Ballincollig and Tullow were to play down in Tanner Park at 4:00 on Saturday. That game got moved to 6:30 in Feathered, and here's how that game went. Ballincollig returned to winning ways with a 19 points to 5 win over Tullow in the Feathered Town Park. Ballincollig struck early with Emma Connolly crossed for their opening try in the 4th minute, giving the home side some early momentum. The first half remained tightly contested thereafter, with Ballincollig carrying a narrow 5-0 lead into the break. It was the hosts who drew first blood in the second half, Vivian O'Donovan crossing in the 45th minute, with Connolly converting. Tullow swiftly replied when Chloe Farrell crossed for their try in the 49th minute to cut the deficit to 7 points. But it was Ballincollig who struck just after the hour mark to cement their lead. Awatir McLean-Wanoa adding a decisive try in the 61st minute, with Connolly's second conversion of the tie, ensuring enough points were in place between the two as Ballincollig picked up a big result. Full highlights of this game are available on the IRFU YouTube channel. We said last week Ballincollig were definitely frustrated not to have gotten a result away to Wicklow, and certainly righted the wrongs, so to speak, from last week. A very, very strong result against Tullow. Low scoring first half, just one try, 5-0 at the break, but Ballincollig picked themselves up in the second half, and I think, Aimee, they can take an awful lot of confidence now from that result going forward.
Yeah, big time. Just the one note I have about it, they had a scrum. I think it was the second try, I think it was. But they had a scrum and the 9 gets the ball and whips it straight to the 10, and the 10 just goes straight through. I just thought it was a fantastic try. I thought it was really, really good. You'll see it in the highlights. But 9 gets it from the scrum, gives it to the 10, and the 10 is just, that's like the Red Sea, it just parted and they were straight through. It was really good. But I think majority of the tries that Ballincollig scored were from a scrum platform, which like really just shows the quality of their backs and the strength of their forwards to get that good play platform for them. Like I thought Ballincollig did really, really well in this game, and yeah, I think they came out with a fire underneath them that they weren't happy with how last week went, and they wanted to put up a show now, you know.
Yeah, definitely that move. Kelly Griffin starts it off and Emma Connolly goes over for it, and I suppose great from a 10 to not only display, you know, your kicking game as well, but to get those tries. And for Ballincollig, it's a great result for them. They get back to winning ways. They were maybe in a bit of patchy form of late, but maybe Tullow will be a little bit disappointed. They got a try fairly early on in the second half, but just, I suppose, couldn't kick into gear like they did against Bows last weekend, Aimee, and just maybe what they worked on and put in a very strong showing against Bows, it just didn't materialise at the weekend.
Yeah, look, the try from Tullow, it came from a backfield defence as well. Ballincollig kicked the ball straight into them and they just cleaned it up and got the ball and were away, you know. So I think now coming in looking to play against Tullow, I think it's a game, if you're the attacking team, you're going to want to keep it in hand rather than kick it to them, because they can score once you kick it to them. Like, they have a lot of really good players, a lot of good ball carriers, people that are comfortable under a high ball, GAA players and stuff. So I think that's when they really kind of show the quality of what they can do, is when they're given that bit of broken open play and broken field. They can show what's happening. I think just in the structured part of the full line defence, I think that's where they're kind of lacking at the minute. But yeah, I think Tullow played really, really well, and it is hard, like when you get used to it being a 5 o'clock kickoff, to like to just push back in an hour and a half. Your body's not used to it. You're tired already. Like and just the weather is crap, but I think it was a really good game. I think Ballincollig would be very happy, and I think Tullow should as well. Like they're really proud of their backfield defence and their turnover attack, and say, this is what we can do when we have the ball. Let's make it so that nobody wants to kick it to us, because we can score whenever you kick it to us, you know.
And I suppose from the athlete's perspective, as you mentioned there, like your body clock is probably ready. You're up early, you're fueled, you're ready to go for that 4 o'clock game, and then suddenly it's 6:30, and even for Ballincollig as well, you're moving to Feathered. Like, comes the last time they had a game in Feathered? If they had a game in Feathered, it's a home game, but it's nearly a new environment as well, and you're trying to get that mentality and get focused and everything. But I know you've had some tough battles against them in the past, Stacey, as well. Like, Ballincollig are a very, very strong team. Results, you know, from their perspective, don't always go the way that they would like in games, and they're probably were kicking themselves at certain moments of this season that they should have a couple of more points on the board. But this is a result that, as I mentioned, can certainly boost our confidence now, and for the next couple of games, try and easily go up and challenge for, to finish higher up, closer to fourth in the table as well.
Absolutely. Like Ballincollig are well able to win a game, but just sometimes it just doesn't go their way. Sometimes things don't happen the way they'd want it to happen. So I think they do have to really take the wins and kind of run with them and use them as momentum coming into their next games. It is very kind of win this one, lose this one. So just kind of learn from the losses and try and keep momentum going when you do get your wins. So they obviously would have been really, really disappointed last week with that 1 point loss. So they'll be happy that they did manage to come away with the win this time. But also as well, like Aimee said, credit to Tullow. I think 12-5, that's probably one of the closest scores they've had, the closest that they've been in a game. So credit to them as well, and similar to what Aimee said, I think when you think of Tullow, you think of a pack heavy team, but a lot of the scores that they've been coming out this year have come from the backfield and have come from kick receipts as well, especially. So it's nice to see them coming along and seeing those little improvements week by week.
And they were so close as well. Like, it was 12-5 for a good period of time. You thought, are they going to get that next try? Pressures on Ballincollig, but they just, I suppose, Ballincollig just showing their experience. They've been here for so long now. They know how to get out of these very, very tight games and, get the score that ultimately settled the tie in the closing exchanges. And, Tullow will be disappointed, with how the game transpired. But again, it's more learnings for them. The bottom of the table race is still remaining the same. There's only 3 points of a difference between themselves and Cook. So if they can get points in the coming weeks, Aimee, this could make a fairly interesting race at the bottom end of the table in the coming weeks.
Yeah, and you don't want to kind of park anybody off as being they're at the bottom of the table. They'll be done, So it'll be interesting to see. And I'd be curious to see kind of what squads are coming up to look to get into the AIL next year, But yeah, I think Tullow and Cook it'll be a game both teams will be really kind of going towards and really gearing towards getting that win, and no team wants to go a whole season and lose a game, So I think everybody's wanting to get in and get the ball over the whitewash and get in and get the score. So I think that'll be a fairly tough game, and I don't know, I wouldn't put my money on either team. I'd rather keep my money than guess,
Absolutely. We'll just take a look at the results in full from the weekend. Blackrock winning 38-12 away to Ennis. UL Bows 41 points to 7 win at home to Wicklow. Railway with that 73-0 score win at home to Cook. Galwegians winning 15-10 away to Belvo, and Ballincollig's 19-5 win over Tullow. And that sees the league table at round 12 with UL Bows 12-12 at the summit with 59 points. Blackrock in second with 55. Railway moving up to third with 45 points. And Belvo closing up the top 4 race in fourth spot on 44. In fifth place, Galwegians have moved up there with 31 points. Wicklow in sixth on 30. Then Ennis in seventh on 17. Ballincollig in eighth with 16. Cook in ninth with 5. And Tullow at the bottom of the table with 2 points scored so far. So that was a look at all of the results in the league tables from the last weekend. Now I'm delighted to be joined by this week's guest, sticking with the Railway Union team, but not with Aimee, with a different player from the Dubliners. It is Leah Tarpey. Leah, you're very welcome to our Final Whistle Women's Rugby podcast.
Thanks for having me. Hi.
Aimee had mentioned you just a few minutes ago, talking about the game at the weekend. I suppose we've seen you move from centre to fullback, and you're showing no signs of slowing down. Good few tries scored in the last couple of outings as well. How have you found maybe that slight position change?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a position that I've wanted to play for so long. Like, since I started playing rugby, I was like, I want to be a fullback, and I've always told coaches that I'm so open to trying new positions, playing back three, playing fullback. But I just think because of my size, And the fact that, like, you know, I'm a powerful runner or whatever, they probably saw me as more of like an upfront big ball carrier rather than someone who's in the backfield. But because I can kick as well, I played GA, came straight from GA into rugby, so that kind of was more of a reason why I was like, how can I kick more? Like, can I be in a position that I can actually like kick? So I kind of played a bit of 15 underage. And then when it came to senior, it was just like, no, you're a center, or like, no, you're a second row. And I was just like, oh, okay. But like, I was happy to play wherever. But this season, it's kind of just come up that there was an opportunity for me to try fullback if I wanted it. And I was like, absolutely, because I really feel like I could do a good job at fullback if I just keep training there and get consistent game time. And I'm only going to get consistent game time if I just keep like training there and playing there with Railway and getting the games week in, week out. And that's just really been helping me. Like, I feel like I've been getting better every week. So that's what I want.
I know Amy's alluded to just your, as you mentioned there, like your kicking game is excellent, the way you've done it, and when you've obviously played in the midfield, it's a lot different to playing with in the fullback role that you are now. But we've seen, I suppose, since coming into the second half of the season after Christmas, with players now away at Celtic Challenge, a couple of teams have had to rejig their tactics and move players around and try and find that. So have you found that just getting that opportunity now has kind of stood to you, and you're just really progressing with your game again?
Yeah, 100%. I'm as you said, I'm able to kick more in games. I'm in a position where I can see the whole pitch when I catch the ball in my hands. Like, I can see where the space is and I can attack it straight away. Like, I feel like I'm pretty good at spotting space and attacking that space, so that it's exactly what I want to be doing in fullback. So not saying I don't want to be playing center. I can play either, and I'll play wherever the team needs me. But it's really nice to get a new kind of view on the game at senior level, and like just catching the ball and seeing all the space in front of you, and it's like, I can kick it, I can run, I can do whatever. It's a lot more exciting when you're playing a new position and like you're trying to, especially at fullback. So I'm really, really enjoying it.
And you're obviously still using the ball carrying ability as well. 2 tries against Ennis and a try against Cook as well. You've been in really, really good form since round 4, and it's really, I suppose, stood to you now over the last few weeks. You've moved up to 3rd now in the league table after the last weekend of action. Of course, we have a week's break now for teams just to recuperate after a grueling block of games. But ever since round 4, it's been very positive. But those first 3 games from a Railway perspective were, I suppose, a bit disappointing against the traditional top 4 teams. But new coach coming in and just trying to get the squad settled in after pre-season as well.
Yeah, 100%. You said it. It's new coach and staff, and everyone's trying to get used to each other again. And Sana coming in, and like the likes of Eleanor as well, coming in and coaching the backs as well. Like, there's so much that they needed to learn about our team and like where people can play in positions and combinations that work together. So the first few games were kind of like trial and error, if you want to look at it like that, because they were just trying to find their best team, and that was the kind of feedback we were being given as well. Like, it's like they wanted to find the team that was going to get us to the Aviva, and hopefully we get there, but we're not thinking about that right now. It's like more so they were like, okay, how can we find the best combinations and the best people to play together, and then the best bench, and all of that, so that come to the top 4 games again, like playing the top 4 teams again, we'll have a better platform and we'll have a better team put together, and we'll have played together more, and it'll just be more cohesive then. Absolutely.
And I know, look, you've been in the Aviva for the last 2 seasons as well, just hasn't gone your way, and the competitiveness has gone up. We see from the weekend, Galwegians getting a result against Belvo, Blackrock are flying it, unbeaten in their last 11 games now, having only lost since the first round, and you're motoring as well. Bows are flying it at the top of the table, and you're seeing the likes of a Wicklow and a Galwegians as well are continuing to kind of knock on the door to try and re-establish that top 4 over the last couple of seasons. So, and Ennis coming in as well to the league, it's only making it a more competitive minefield across the board.
Yeah, 100%. And I think this year especially, I'm like, you can't underestimate any team. Every team has shocked me. Like, as in Ennis coming up, they have a really good team. They are going to be a team to be reckoned with in the future. Like, give them 2 or 3 more years of coaching and, you know, proper game time up in AIL. Like, they could be a really serious team. And like, I was looking at the caliber of like players that they actually had. It's like, there's so much talent here in this team. Like, they weren't an easy win as much as the scoreboard would say, like, oh, we bet them well. It wasn't an easy game to play. But yeah, as well, Galwegians, you know, they're always tough to play, especially at like down in Galwegians. So like, I think every team is, you know, putting their best foot forward this season, and it is competitive, and it's really good to get that game time in. And it's you're not going into any game thinking that you're going to win it. Like, we got our asses handed to us like in the first few games, but like, you know, you can't expect anything, and that's actually really good from a league. Like, you want that. You don't want to come in expecting you're going to win every game. That doesn't make it fun. That doesn't make it enjoyable or competitive at all. So it's really good to see a lot of clubs progressing this season and just putting their best foot forward and just being really competitive.
I know you'd missed the first couple of games of the season just coming back from an injury, and it was a pretty nasty injury to come back for, but you've you know, ever since you've come back, I suppose you put your best foot forward. But I'm sure just you know, everyone wants to get their preseason routine right, and I suppose maybe it was a slight bit affected when you picked up the injury.
Yeah, look, I picked it up early in preseason with Leinster, and I was gutted. It was my knee and my ankle, just had tears in those, and just, you know, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, I need to get back as quick as possible, because Leinster is my favourite time of the year. Like, I love playing with Leinster, and especially the fact that we had new coaching in and new players coming in as well. I really wanted to, you know, stand up and be a senior player in that squad, and you know, play and lead by example as well, because I feel like the last 2 years I've had a really good run at it with Leinster, so I just wanted to build on that again. So I was kind of like, like missing out, and that was really hard. But then I was like, okay, I'm gonna be out for the whole Interpro, so my next focus is getting back for Railway, and, you know, chatting and working with the physios as well. I was doing my rehab and just focusing on each day as I came, and my only focus then was to get back for AIL, whether it be the third game, the fourth game, the first game, whatever it was. But it ended up being the third game, I think, or the fourth game. But yeah, when I got back, I got back to training. I was flying it. I'd been doing my own kind of preseason after everybody else, obviously, but was doing my own work away and running and stuff. So when I came back, I was flying it. Like, I felt fit, I felt good, and I was ready to go then straight away. So kind of seamlessly integrated back into the group then.
I know we would have seen you kind of document that road to recovery and coming back as well in the TikToks that you would have put up kind of over that period of time. As someone who, you know, rugby world is kind of almost new to you when you started fairly late, around the age of 16, and you're 22 now, and you've had such a meteoric rise and everything that's happened as well. But on the social media front as well, kind of that young generation, and we're seeing social media used a lot more now with, you know, promoting things, and we've seen obviously the way it worked with the girls over at the Women's World Cup as well, and everything, that support that they got behind it as well. How have you found the way that, I suppose, your TikTok brand has grown and just kind of giving people that insight of, you know, life in the pitch and the couple of little things that you do off the field as well?
Yeah, like, I think for me, when I started, I just wanted to give people an insight into what a female athlete's life looks like, and that was really important for me because I didn't see any of that. Like, growing up, like, you wouldn't see anything. It was all just men and what they do, and male athletes and all about their life, but like, I saw nothing about professional women's teams or sports players. So I was like, especially in Ireland, I was like, there's a huge gap there, and like, young girls need role models to look up to as well. And now, whether or not I'm the best rugby player or the worst rugby player, it doesn't really matter. I was in a setup where it was professional. I was getting paid, you know, I was training at the highest level I could and playing for my country. So if I could showcase that and show all the young girls that it's possible, then they can then dream big. They can then dream to be a professional Irish athlete. Like, it's there for them, and I just don't think a lot of girls knew that. So that was kind of the main reason why I started it, and then gaining all the traction and followers, like, and people actually wanted to see it. I was like, okay, it wasn't just in my head. People do actually want to see this. So I then started to try get like a lot of my teammates at the time. I was like, you know, you could do this too, and like people really want to see it, and like people who are more successful than I was, like, you know, people like Aoife Wafer and people like Brittany Hogan and all these people. I was like, if you could do this and show girls like your life, like you're very successful, you've played in Six Nations, you played at a World Cup now, and like there's so many people. I was just like, the more people we can get to show, you know, your life, and even if it's just showing little bits of it, it doesn't have to be like the ins and outs of it. It's just like, I keep myself very, like, my personal life is actually kept very quiet. I don't show a lot of it, and I just show people what I want to show them, kind of thing. So like, you can keep your personal life private, and then everything else that you feel like people would like to see or need to see, you can put that out there. So it's not like, you know, you're giving people a whole like straight into your life, and like you can't keep anything private. So like it's just getting the balance between the two. But yeah, like so many more people. You see Anna McGann, Eve Higgins, they blew up over the World Cup. Like, that's just amazing. That's exactly what girls want to see and need to see. And then the amount of support we've got off the back of that for the Irish rugby team, and like for the Six Nations and stuff. There's games that are already like nearly sold out, and like for the Six Nations. So that's exactly what we need. And the more players that we can get doing that, the more people are going to relate to the players, and the more they're going to look up to them, and the more they want to go and see them play. So it just all has a big, massive like wave effect, and yeah, it's just brilliant to see.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy like watching that kind of what athletes get up to, your preparations and stuff like that. But I think the thing that's really piqued my curiosity is the food reviews and like looking at the different places. There's definitely a few places in Dublin that you've put up that I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to try, including the Indian place that you went to. I was like, yeah, that's the kind of, I'm like going, I never really know where to go when I'm up in Dublin. I'm like, yeah, there's a few recommendations there now, that's for sure. Leah, thanks very much for joining us on the podcast this week, and wishing you the best of luck now for the rest of the season, and who knows where the rest of the season will take you. But my thanks for having you on this week.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Turning our attention now to matters on the international scene. Of course, big doubleheader of Celtic Challenge action on Sunday down in Virgin Media Park. Clovers against the Brighton Thunder, and of course the Wolfhounds in action as well. Clovers had a very, very tough battle against Brighton. Very strong and player of the match performance again from Katrina Finn. She's really, really settling into that role and doing really well. Aimee Clarke getting a try. Currently playing with Shannon at the moment down in the Munster Leagues. Great to see her getting a chance to shine on the international side of house as well. Siobhan McCarthy goes over for a try early on in the game, and you know they have the likes of Niamh Murphy and Aoife Corey getting scores as well. So a lot of scores coming around the field, Stacey, and I think the Clovers can take a lot of confidence from this result.
Yeah, they definitely can. They did make kind of hard work of it, I suppose, when you look at the halftime score being 12-all for both teams. But they did just prove that they are able to come away with it in the end. And yeah, there was like fantastic displays of rugby again, like Katrina Finn deserving of player of the match. She's, like I said the same last week, that you can really see her confidence growing in that 10 position. And like even that try where she took it to the line because she knew she'd stuck in the defenders, and she just popped it off to Aimee was just like, it's so nice to see a 10 not being afraid to take it right up and, you know, potentially get involved in the contact and not just, you know, pass the ball on or look to kick. So she's been playing so well for them. I think Niamh Murphy is just like, again, just burning people on the outside. She's unbelievable in centre. She's so strong and she has the pace. So she's been playing fantastic. And from last week, I think Lindsay Clarke played really well. So she was like deserving of getting the start this week to show herself. So I think her and Niamh worked really well in the centre together. The pack as well, always strong. Like Sive McGrath is just so hungry for the ball, and constantly making ground, constantly wanting to take on the ball. They will definitely be happy with that performance. Definitely, anyways, the way they were able to get ahead in the second half. But I think the Clovers are so strong, they can they could probably have done more damage in the first, and they let themselves kind of have to get into that position where it was like, oh, we really need to step it up and get scores. I think Emily Lane makes like just the speed of her rucks, like the ruck isn't even formed and she has the ball passed. It's so nice to see, and her getting the score in herself as well, from the little picking over the line, similar kind of to what our Megan Connolly did at the weekend. There's just so much talent there, and like it's so nice to watch.
I know, looking at the game the previous weekend, I wasn't sure. I know I'd seen her going down, but I wasn't sure what was the severity of the injury. But a big blow for Jane Clossy with some form of an arm injury she got. I know she's done herself damage anyway. I know it's not as bad as the knee issues that she's had in the past, but again, it's another blow for her when she was doing really, really well in this Celtic Challenge series, and but Six Nations around the corner as well, and the worst time in the world to be getting injured, and missing out on a few things. But like, she was definitely a big loss for the Clovers. But you look at the likes of Rosie Cyril, I thought she did very, very well. Anna Kate, as I mentioned, and then of course Jemima will keep flying the Galwegians flag. I thought she did very well. Stacey at 8 as well. They have a lot of depth in that backfield as well.
They do, yeah. There is so much depth there, and like even Aoife Dalton, like when she just cut through the whole Britain team to get that score, and she obviously had to use her strength as well to fight through. There's so much there, and that injury to Jane is a massive blow, and like you said, it's a horrible time for it to come around. But like, she's obviously a resilient player. She's come back from injury. She'll do it again, and she'll just use it as fuel to come back even better than she was before. But the depth there is just like refreshing. Like the teams they're putting out every week as well are like, there's a lot of changes, there's differences, because there are other players there that are just as good as the ones who say started the week previous. So I mean, when it comes to, like we spoke about before, Six Nations squads, it'll be really interesting to see what players maybe get their first shout, because there's just so much competition.
That's 4 wins from 5 now for the Clovers. They're in third spot at the moment in the tables. Wolfhounds against Glasgow Warriors was the second part of the doubleheader billing down in Cork. The Wolfhounds were 52 points to 0 up, were absolutely dominant, and then just shipped a couple of tries late on. Certainly maybe disappointed with just how the game transpired at the end, but a lot of very, very good performances. Good to see Maeve O'Leary going over in Virgin Media Park. Don't know about seeing her wearing blue in comparison to seeing her wearing some form of a red jersey scoring in that pitch, but great to see her getting scored on the international scene. Of course, we mentioned the likes of Aimee Larne and Katie Corrigan, who were at Belvo last week when they played Cook into the Wolfhounds setup. Katie Corrigan, of course, getting a try. Abby Moyles starting at 10 instead of Dan O'Brien this week, doing very, very well. Erin King, Linda Dugang, like the scores are coming, from fast and frantic from them. They've so many options, Amy. And again, like what Stacey alluded to there, with this squad selection now coming around the corner, like a lot of players are putting their hands up to say, I want to be part of this setup.
Yeah, big time. Like, I really think that was a game of two halves. Like the first half, they were just like walking in tries, and then I don't know what kind of happened. I don't know if they just kind of sat back on their heels because they had such a lead and let the tries come back in. But yeah, big time. Like the squad that's there, like I could have looked at that squad and wouldn't have been surprised that if that was a starting squad for the Six Nations, and the exact same with the Clover squad. I could have looked at that and said, yeah, of course, like, yeah, no bother that start for the Six Nations. So I think the competition is the highest it's ever been right now. And I think it's at the highest quality it's ever been right now as well. So it'll be really interesting to see come February, March, who's going to be in these starting jerseys, and even who's going to be the impact that's coming off the bench as well. Because like there's one thing I know for certain, that if if somebody's getting onto the bench and not starting, like they're gonna come on and they're gonna be like gearing for that jersey, showing everything they have to get that starting spot, you know.
I need to correct myself from earlier as well. I think I said Aoife Dalton and I meant Aoife Corey, just for the try with the Clovers. It crossed my mind, and I was like, okay, I need to say it now before I forget again and get made fun of.
I was thinking, I was like, I didn't see her on the squad, but all right.
Corey. Sorry, Aoife.
Another player that has done really well in the AIL this year, and certainly was, has been a blow for Wicklow, is Vicky Elms-Kinlan. Like, she's done really, really well for the Wolfhounds, got over for a try. And again, another player that's, putting the hand up and saying, we have there is a lot of very good backs in that team, but like, she's just very good. And I'm sure you've come up against her and, you're just going, if she gets the ball, you just know what's going to happen, like, at the end of the day.
If I'm coming up against her, I'm like, it's your tackle, it's your tackle, it's your tackle.
Yeah, she's scary to come up against. I got stuck out on the wing against Leinster during the summer, and I think she had just passed our own winger, and I just, like, literally my life flashed before my eyes. I was like, oh no, it's up to me. And I just about got her down, but she was so close to just shrugging me off. Like, she has such good upper body strength as well. Yeah. She's so impressive. And I think as well last year she would have been really, really disappointed to not have got into that Irish squad, because I know she was training with them kind of up until they were naming teams. So she's working so hard, and you can see that as well in the way she's playing.
And the likes of, Fiona Tuke going over as well. I know we mentioned her and Erin King coming back from injuries. Like, they're getting tries. Erin, obviously the new Ireland captain as well, going into the Six Nations. There's a lot of things to build on, and like you see, they make a new 9 and 10 partnership. Jay Gaffney comes in alongside Abby. Like, they were able to rotate the squad this week and give players more game time, which is great to see. And it didn't, affect them too much, Aimee, in the way that they played. They were still very strong. I know how the ending transpired. They were 14-0 up at half time, and it was 52 to no score. You thought this could be an even bigger whitewash in the second half. And I think you have to credit Glasgow coming back into it as well. Like, their scores were very, very, methodically thought out. They did very, very well. So I think as well for the Wolfhounds, it is a good learning curve as well, that if they did win that game by 60 or 70 points and kept them to no score, it mightn't have been as big a test as Glasgow exploiting their defence in the second half, and they can take a lot of learnings now from that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it kind of showed where maybe a few kinks in the chain were, so it gives them something to come back and to train against. And like, it's when you're in the position that Wolfhounds are in, like they're winning majority of their games, it's very hard to train and try fix something that you don't know needs to be fixed just yet. And like, it's something that you might not know that needs to be fixed until you're in the final, and then it's too late for it. So I think having results like that and games go the way it did, I think it's actually really good for them. Especially like to be able to get that like safety blanket of tries and still keep them to only 26 scores. Like, if Wolfhound scored 40 in the first half, that didn't mean that Glasgow could have easily done the same. So I think it is good for them. I think it's a learning curve, and I think it'll be something that they'll really think about coming into training this week.
I know the Wolfhounds will return to Virgin Media Park this Sunday. They're up against the Galway Lightning. So again, we'll have to see whether they'll make a few more changes and maybe rest a couple of players, or give a few more players a bit more game time, and see how way that goes. And the Clovers are away to Glasgow on Saturday. So two big games now this weekend to see what way the squads will shape up as well. So definitely exciting times in the international scene, of course, with that the Six Nations getting ever closer. We're nearly at the end of January. We'll be at the end of January come the weekend, and starting in February on Sunday. So it's only going to get ever closer to Six Nations around the corner. But that brings episode 4 to a conclusion. Another frantic week, of course. Next week we won't have AIL to discuss, so definitely a lot more focus on the Clovers action at the weekend and the Wolfhounds, and then of course we'll preview round 13 coming back in the AIL the week after next. So plenty of women's rugby to discuss on next week's show. We hope you've enjoyed episode 4. Of course, again, my thanks to Aimee and Stacy for providing the insight and the knowledge from another frantic weekend. And Stacy's voice will definitely be back by next week, fully restored.
We hope. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
There'll still be celebrations down in Galwegians, that for sure. But my thanks to the two girls. We hope you've enjoyed episode 4, and we'll catch you for episode 5 next week.